need to lower myself. I'm too high. Perhaps I am as low as I can go. Ooh. Hello everyone, welcome back to Foster the Meeple, a channel all about board games and board gamey things. Today I am back with another pumped up Kickstarter. And today's pumped up Kickstarter preview is on Foraglings, and this is from McDavid Publishing, who very kindly sponsored today's video. Now, this is a prototype. It looks great, but it is a prototype, so that means that anything that you see can and will possibly be subject to change. I know that there is some art that's currently missing, those types of things, but that includes components and rules and all that good stuff, as you know. So as per usual with my preview videos, I am going to show you a little bit about the game, give you an overview to help you decide whether or not this is a good fit for you. So without further ado, let's dive into it. Nestled deep in the undergrowth of Whitlock Grove, these sprightly Foraglings work together to grow their budding hamlet into a thriving community. Known for their benevolence, Foraglings contribute this shared goal by scavenging the brush for resources and assisting with the projects in the village. However, despite their compassion and kindness, they can also be a little devious, choosing instead to hoard some treasures for themselves rather than give them away. Foraglings is a competitive inventory management game where players will take on the role of a unique foragling competing to collect the most coins throughout 6 rounds of play. Foraglings will bid for resource tiles and exchange them in the market as they work to build a hand of community projects to score at the end of the game. But what does that mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let's take a closer look at how the game plays. As per usual with my preview videos, this will be a general overview of the game and not an official how to play. I just want to give you a good idea of how the game works to help you decide if it's a good fit for you. So, with that being said, let's get started. Actually, before we get started, let's take a look at a foragling mat. Now, at the beginning of the game, each player will be dealt 2 foragling mats to choose from. So, just so you can see here, I am currently set up for a 3-player game, and these are the foragling mats. So here we have Linus. Up here, we have Munch. Cute. And here we have Zips. And there's a bunch of different ones that are available. So maybe to take a look at this, we will use Linus. Up at the top, we have their name. The number next to their name is their initiative, which is going to matter for kind of player turn when we start the game. Up in the top corner here, we have the difficulty of the foragling mat because all of the different foraglings are slightly asymmetrical. You'll kind of notice that this mat looks different than Zips. So there may also be some additional setup rules. So here on Munch, we have additional setup. So they actually start with a little button on their player mat. And then here in this text box, we have their special ability, which is how their player mat is actually going to work for you during the game. And then at the bottom, we will have kind of end game scoring. I do also want to point out on the backs of all of these cards, we have a little bit of a summary and some gameplay tips. So as you choose your foragling mat, you can get a little bit more information to make sure you're picking one that fits your playstyle, or maybe you want to try something different. Foraglings is played over 6 rounds, and each round is broken down into 4 phases. We have the bidding phase, the collecting phase, the market phase, and the reset phase. So let's start off with the bidding phase. Now, during this phase, players will bid coins to decide the collecting order for the next phase. The current priority track determines, so the priority track's here, the current priority track determines the player order for the current bidding phase. Players will place their bid in front of their coin screen so it's visible to everyone. So if I were making this bid, I would put it out front. This is my little player screen, just so you know. It's where I keep my secrets. Just keep in mind, you can't bid more coins than you have, of course. You will look at the top community project card of the bid deck, and this determines the bid style for the current round, which is this deck right here. So you'll see the current style would be an open bid. There are 3 bid styles. We have open bid, single round bid, and hidden bid. So 3 different styles. Placing a bid during this round is optional. However, if you choose not to, you won't gain a bounty pile during the collecting phase. Let's chat quickly about the types of bids, starting with an open bid. The player whose income button is the farthest on the left of the turn order track will start, and players will make their bid by announcing the amount out loud and placing their coins in front of their screen. Then you'll continue to the next player, who must then decide to either announce a higher bid, or equal to, or lower than the current highest bid. If they decide to bid lower than the current highest, they will flip their income button and will not be able to make any further bids this round. The bid will end when only one income button has not been flipped. Then we have the hidden bid. Players will simultaneously make their bids in secret. Once all players have decided, everyone will place their coins from their hand in front of their screen, and then they'll assess. Finally, we have the single round bid. Players will bid by announcing the amount they want to bid and placing it in front of their screen, and will only get to do this once, unlike an open bid where it's going to continue going around. Once all bids have been placed, the player with the highest bid will draw the top community project card and will add it to their hand, revealing what kind of bid will be coming up in the next round. Players will then order their income buttons on the collecting order track from left to right based on their coins they bid. Then the coins are going to go back into the general supply. So it's important to note that any coins you bid with will be gone. So, don't spend all your cookies on one jar. And that's a new phrase I just made up. Let's take a look at a community project card. Right here, we have the project type. Now, these come in purple, blue, and red, all of which are just slightly different. So blue is community items, red is community structures, and purple are community events. So this is a community event, bug racing. Then here we have the illustration. There's going to be a unique illustration on each card. Up here we have the particular type of tile that's actually going to need to be discarded in order to collect this card during the market phase, right? So in this instance, it would be one of these 3 greens. Down at the bottom, we have end game scoring conditions. Up here we have the exchange action. And in the circle right down here, we have the community project action, which is a one-time kind of bonus action. Then we'll go into the collecting phase, which consists of 3 steps: collecting a bounty tile, placing resource tiles, and choosing a spot in line. So let's look at collecting a bounty tile, but first, here is an example of a bounty card. So these are the bounty cards, and they give you some information about what is on the back of them, which is something that you'll collect when you collect a bounty pile. So as an example with this card, it's saying there are 2 different types of tiles on the back of this, and this symbol is showing you one of them that is guaranteed to be on it. So if we flip this over, you will see we do have 2. One of them is the small blue square, and the other one is the 2 red square. In collecting order, players who placed a bid will choose a community project and bounty card combination from the available bounty piles, which are all down here at the bottom of the board. Players will add the community project card to their hand and flip over the bounty card to reveal which resource tiles they may gain from the supply. Anytime a player gains a resource tile, they must immediately place it in their collection on their collection card. There are a few placement rules to keep in mind, so let's go over that now. So this is your collection card. Everybody is going to have one. To start, everybody is going to be dealt one. In the top corner, it'll show you kind of the difficulty level of that card, and then you're going to place your income buttons on these little ghost income button spots. When you see anything that's filled in here, you're going to get that bonus if you cover that particular space with the matching tile. And actually, is that the right one? Yes, that's the right one. So in this instance, we would cover that and we would gain 2 coins. Okay? So in terms of placement rules, it's pretty similar to a lot of other polyomino style games. You have to be able to fit it within the grid, so there can't be an overhang like this. You also can't overlap things, of course, and you can't place on top of these buttons. Then finally, you will choose a spot in line. Each player must choose one of the 6 spots to occupy. Once selected, each player will place their player pawn on that spot and gain the bonus. So we all have our little player pawns here. Woo. Now I will also mention, these are our player pawns, but there are also the acrylic standees that you can use instead. But for the sake of being able to see, actually let's lay these down so you can see these a little bit better. So if you place here, you'll get to go first. If you place here, you'll gain a coin from the supply. Here you can exchange one of your tiles for another tile. This is to gain any tile from the tile pool, the supply, and this is to gain an income button from your collection mat here. So you'd get to actually pick one up, which of course is giving you more area to place your tiles. Once this is all done, you will reorder player income buttons on the bidding priority to match the new line order. So we would be doing something that looks like this. Next up is the market phase, and during this phase, players can use one of 3 actions using an available market action, interact with a community project card, or collect an unlocked income bonus. There are 2 market actions available on the main board itself. If you'd like to use one, you will take your player pawn and place it in the chosen action, which must be available and not blocked by another player. The actions are spend 3 coins to remove an income button from your collection mat, spend 1 coin to gain any tile from the supply and add to your collection mat, and return any tiles from your collection card to the supply and gain 1 coin for each returned. When a player decides to interact with a community project card in the market, which is this row right up top, they take their pawn from its spot and place it above the chosen card. Now you have 2 options. Gain the community project card by returning the resource tile shown on the card from your collection mat and take the card into your hand. So in this instance, it's asking for a 2 tan, so it would be this one. So the yellow player would need to remove that from their mat and return it back to the supply. Or you can exchange goods by returning the resource tiles on Community Card Project shown on the card in exchange for coins based on the exchange rate. And if you'll remember, that is right in this section right up here. So for this card in particular, it's looking for you to return any of the tiles that have this symbol. So we have one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. And for each, you can gain 3 coins. This can be done up to 3 times. Then finally, we have the reset phase, which essentially just resets everything for the next round. However, during this phase, players will perform any forgeling actions they have on their forgeling mat in turn order. So let's take another look at Linus to show you what their kind of special action is. During the reset phase, which is what we're in now, you may move 1 tile from your collection card to this mat and gain 1 coin. Tiles on this mat at the end of the game may be used for endgame scoring of your community projects. After 6 rounds have been completed, players will move on to final scoring. Players will gain coins based on their endgame scoring conditions on their forgeling mats, and they will also gain coins based on endgame scoring conditions of community project cards in hand, and will then add all of their coins together, and whoever has the most coins wins. A few other things to note with this game: you do have your player screen, which has everything that you need to know right on it, kind of as a reference card. So it goes through the bidding phase, collecting phase, market phase, reset phase, as well as your icon reminders. And just remember, you're going to keep all of your coins hidden behind this screen so nobody knows how far ahead you really are. So just to recap, because like I mentioned, this is obviously not an official how to play, we are going to be going into the bidding phase by doing whatever type of bid is on the top card, and there are 3 different kinds of bids that you will do. Once that's done, the highest bid is going to collect this card, which on the opposite side is a community project card, and they will get to take that into their hand. It's important to know everybody also starts with a random community project card as well. Then we're going to go into the collecting phase where we are going to be in collecting order based on the bids, collecting one of these piles. Then, of course, still in collection order, we are going to be placing our pawns out to one of these spaces and then collecting the bonus right away, whatever we may like to do. Then we're going to rearrange this based on where the pawns have been placed, and then we will go into the market phase. During this phase, you can play any community cards from your hand so long as you are able to pay for them. You can interact with the market. We've got these 3 open spaces here as well, and you can exchange goods. All right. Finally, we'll go into the reset phase where everything resets for the next round. We do have a round tracker here as well, which I don't think I mentioned. But that is the game in a nutshell, and just don't forget to check your player mats for those triggers and when they happen and for your end game scoring. So the question now is, who is this game for? This is a competitive inventory management game, which means if you enjoy things like tile placement and puzzling, this could be for you. But where that management style comes is you have to place things out here, but then in order to use these project cards, which are going to score you points and get you coins, you're then going to have to be able to remove those in order to play these project management cards or those project cards. It's also for a fan of bidding style games, but it puts an interesting twist on it since you'll be bidding in a variety of ways throughout the game, and you're always going to be able to kind of prepare for the next type of bid before the round starts, which is kind of cool. You really need to manage your coins because coins are points, but you also need to bid with them in order to maybe go first or do different things. So if you don't spend them, you can't win any bids. So it's a lot of management with your coins as well. But it's also very cute, but don't let that fool you. This is a highly interactive game. So just know that you're kind of like working together and bidding on the things against each other. You're going to be taking these spots because multiple people can't go in the certain spots with the actions and taking cards and doing all of this stuff. So there's a lot of interaction, which you know we love. And like I mentioned, it's cute. And there is a ton of variability within this game, just even within the market cards. So just so you know, this is kind of the market stack that will refill. There are 6 cards in here, 1 for each round, and these are just randomly drawn from the project cards. So these are going to be different every time too, and you don't know kind of what you're going to get until you get it. There's also, like I said, a ton of different Forageling characters, and they all play differently. So you're going to be able to test a bunch of them out and try and see kind of which one vibes with your playstyle, or just keep trying them until you've tried them all. There are also, we also have these collection mats. And like I mentioned, as you can see, these ones are all different, but these are the easy level ones. When you flip it over, this one is a little bit more difficult. So there's a bunch of these in the box as well for even more variability, and they just slide right in here. And whoop, and there you go. So if Foraglings sounds like it might be the type of game that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend that you check out the Kickstarter page, watch other videos, read reviews, watch playthroughs, do all of that good stuff to determine whether or not this is a good fit for you. I will have everything that you need to know linked in the description below, so please definitely go and check that out if it sounds like something that you might enjoy. But that is everything that I have for you today. Now, if you're interested in buying board games like other games from McDavid Games, you should first start by checking your friendly local gaming store. And for us, that's the Boardroom Game Cafe. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. I hope to see you again soon. And now I say goodbye. Bye-bye.